It's 10:30, so we can start with this track of the Learning Ideas Conference. This is track 4. It has a number but also a name. The name of the track is ALICE. ALICE stands for Adaptive Learning via Interactive, Collaborative and Emotional Approach. It is a thematic track of the Learning Ideas Conference. It formerly was a workshop that we organized for 10 editions outside the Learning Ideas Conference, because the Learning Ideas Conference started last year. So starting from the 2021, we joined the Learning Ideas Conference and started this partnership. And now the ALICE workshop became a special track of this conference, special track on these particular themes. So adaptive learning, collaboration, emotional approach. We have 2 sessions. The first one is today, it is chaired by me. The next session is tomorrow and will be chaired by the co-chair of this workshop, of this track, that is Santi Caballé from the Open University of Catalonia. I'm Nicola Capuano from the University of Basilicata in Italy. We have 4 papers, so 4 presentations for each session. In the first session, we have 3 presentations on a very hot topic, that is learning chatbot. The first presentation is about a gamified language learning chatbot. The third presentation is about pedagogical conversational agents. And the fourth presentation is about conversational lesson learned from using conversational agents in collaborative learning. So it is a very hot topic for this edition of ALICE. We have also another very interesting topic, and is about immersive virtual reality. So we have 2 papers from Germany, the first 2 papers, and papers that, and also in this case presentation, and 2 from Spain. I think we can start. I remember I have said before, just to present, as I remember to all participants, that everyone interested in asking for a question can use, in the right side of the screen there is a question mark. If you press on the question mark, you will open a panel, a question and answer panel. In this panel you can put your question, and at the end I will read the most interesting questions to the presenters that will reply to the questions. We think to have 20-25 minutes for presentation, and then 5-10 minutes for discussion just after presentation. So I think we can start with the first presentation, that is improving a gamified language learning chatbot through AI and UX boosting. We have 2 presenters here, Paulina, I try to read, Zvilulub and Vera Klutz from the Institute of Cognitive Science of the University of Ondersburg, Germany. I don't know if I can put you on stage so that you can share your presentation with us. Welcome.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you for the introduction. And let me start here. Thank you everyone for joining. I hope you can see my screen. Thank you for joining our talk. And as you already said, we will be talking about Escapling, which is a gamified chatbot, and improving it through AI and UX boosting. I will be presenting together with Vera, my collaborator. And before I talk too much, I would actually like to share a video with you guys to get you curious. So I will share a link through the media link here. I hope.
Hello, can you hear me?
All right. I hope that you all are really curious to hear more about Escapling now. So let me get right into it. Here is a brief roadmap of our talk. We will first briefly introduce Escapling and then show you a couple of demos of the app. And then we will talk about the user experience enhancement that we did in this version of the app, talk about learning experience improvements, and finally present some results of evaluation of the app. Now, so first of all, this app, Escapling, is a Telegram-based chatbot, which we developed at the University of Osnabrück as part of a 2-year study project. And today we would like to present the updates, so basically the second version of the app that we developed within the last year with an amazing team of collaborators. It's just the two of us that are presenting the work here. So the chatbot is an English learning chatbot aiming at intermediate level proficiency English learners, and for instance, in school. And this is supposed to be a supplementary teaching tool for extending the center classroom settings to a more fun, more engaging, and more important, collaborative English learning setting. And the second goal of this project is to explore state-of-the-art technologies and how they can be employed in language learning applications. So let me give you a little bit more on the background and motivation of our conceptualization of our project. Escapling focuses on collaborative English learning groups, and this is made possible by setting the app as a chat, so as a chatbot and as a group chat in Telegram, so the users can interact both with the bot and among themselves, which allows them to actually learn English in conversation as in a social and natural context, so to say. And this allows them to not only practice language tasks and actually improve the linguistic skills, but also improve their communicative competence, which is an important feature of this app and is largely or not as prominent in other popular language learning applications. Secondly, Escapling is a chatbot which is actually embedded into a sci-fi themed escape room setting, which you have already seen in our ad video, so to say. And using the sci-fi themed storyline allows us to actually engage the users more into the learning process and boost their motivation and their emotional engagement, and through this also their learning motivation. And secondly, having the storyline allows us to improve the user experience by introducing story-specific UX elements here. We will talk more about this in this presentation. And finally, we also, of course, want to include a feedback module in our Escapling app. It's well known that informational or instructive and corrective feedback is really important for language learning. And we include this in Escapling through an adaptive module, which allows us to provide targeted feedback as needed to the personal needs of the learners at an adaptive rate, so to say. And since this is a non-trivial task, we employ AI-based state-of-the-art tools to do that in more complex tasks. And especially the last 2 points were improved throughout the second year of the project. So we would like to focus on UX improvements and learning experience improvements in this talk. And now I'd like to give over to Vera.
Yeah, thank you very much, Paulina. Now, I think I will start sharing my screen as soon as you stopped it.
Yes, sorry.
Yes. So now I hope everybody should see my screen, and we will now go on with the game flow. So at first, I'd like to give you a small introduction into the actual escape room setting of our app. So there's the storyline in our app that you and your friends are trapped on a spaceship, and there are aliens holding you captive. And in order to escape that spaceship, you have to collect some codes that you can enter, and then you can escape each room, and in the end, you can go back to Earth. And there are two things that are helping you. The first thing is the cute alien Elias. He's also on the spaceship with you. And then there's the human hacker Harriet, and she's the one who's sending you the codes. And so in order to prove that you are the humans and not the aliens trying to communicate with her, you have to solve small little English tasks. So here you can see how we embed the storytelling and the actual tasks themselves. So in the storytelling part, you will always enter some kind of room. Then you will try to contact Harriet on Earth, and then you can select a task. So we've implemented 4 different tasks. You choose one, and in this task, there are always 3 repetitions, so 3 rounds that you play the task with a question and response type. And in the end, if you do everything right, you can get the code and escape the room. Or if you don't get a code, you can try again. So this is the overall game flow that you can see here. So as I mentioned, we have 3 different tasks. And then there's a 4th and optional task. So you can either choose that you've spent enough time, maybe especially if you need more time and are a rather slow learner, then you can directly escape to Earth. Or you can decide to do a 4th and optional task, which is the listening task. And then you can even free the alien Elias and take him with you to Earth. Of course, if you fail a task, there's always the option to retry it or also to try another task first and get back to it later. Now that we showed you the concept of our work, we want to show you how it actually looks like. So therefore, at first, we will show you some screenshots of our app so that we can go through it step by step. And then if you have an idea of how it looks like, we'll also show you some more videos. So here you can see the Telegram web interface. You can play it on your smartphone or on a computer. And since Telegram is a chatbot, the users are able to communicate with each other. Then at the beginning, one user has to start the bot. And of course, you don't have to know this command by heart. But down here, we implemented a small button, and you can see all the available options there, which are starting the bot, stopping it, and we also implemented an FAQ button. So at first, the alien Elias will introduce himself. Hello, my name is Elias, and then some more specifics. And after that, also the human hacker Harriet will introduce herself. As you can see, here are some examples as buttons that we implemented. So now the question is, okay, are you ready? And users can choose to say, yes, let's go. Or if they want to have some more time reading, they would just select no, not yet. After everyone is ready, one user is chosen and can select a task. So we have the sentence correction task, the vocabulary guessing task, discussion task, and if we would scroll down a little bit, we would also see the listening task. And at first, I want to show to you the sentence correction task. So in the sentence correction task, we get the following instructions. Harriet sends you English sentences with some errors. Your group has to correct them to prove that you're humans. If your group is right, you will be given a single letter of the password in each round. So correct the given sentences and collect letters for the password. And as you can see, we are starting this task with a GIF, and we're actually doing that with every task. And we chose to do this to promote student engagement, and also because several studies have shown that it's easier for students to better understand the following content after showing a GIF. And of course, it also stimulates the attention of the users. And now they will need the attention because now the actual English learning task is starting. So for example, the users will get a sentence and it could go like this. Either New York nor Los Angeles are quiet cities. The streets are always busy. And now the first thing the user has to do is to say if this sentence is correct or incorrect. In this case, it's incorrect. And the answer was right. And now the user has to select the erroneous word in the sentence. So in this case, it would be the word either, which is also a correct answer. And then the user has to suggest a good replacement for this word. So in this case, it would be neither. And if the player did everything right, he can even get another motivational GIF like this one, because leveraging on emotions has also shown to really improve the learning experience. So now the users take turns and everyone has its row. And then at some points, the results are checked and they get some code from the human hacker Harriet. So in this case, they've already received 2 numbers, which means that we are in our second row. And after everyone has taken turns, the code panel will appear and the users have to enter the password that they selected in order to escape the room. So now that I showed you the vocabulary the sentence correction, I also want to show you the vocabulary guessing task. Therefore, I quickly have to copy the link and show it to you. So, and now I will make the audio. So what you can see here is the vocabulary guessing task. So the user gets the word stairs here, for example, and now he has to try and explain the word without using it to the group. For example, going up in a building requires you to take the, and then the other users have to guess the word. So in this case, stairs was the correct answer, but elevator would also have been a possible but wrong option here. And as you can see, everyone is taking turns. So after one user has explained the word, another user will get a new word and be able to describe it to the group. So now the next thing I want to show you is the discussion task. For that, I will show you another link. So here in the discussion task, the users get a big text at the beginning. So in this case, it's about Luke, who's living in a lighthouse, and the text also gives some specifics of how a lighthouse could be. And the users have to read the text, and after that, they will get certain questions in each round that they have to discuss on. So in this case, it's which advantages or disadvantages are there to live in a lighthouse. And as you can see, we are also starting this task with a GIF again. It's just a little bit speeded up here so that I can better show you the video. And one problem that we faced was actually that the Telegram interface does not allow you to implement a progress bar. So how we solved this issue was to always send a little picture that we designed beforehand where the users see actually the remaining time, like 2 minutes. And now another question would be, how do we evaluate what is a good answer or a bad answer? And this is something we will come to later in this presentation. So, and now I will go back sharing my screen. And the last task that we implemented is the listening task. Here the users will get an audio file that they can listen on their own. It's always roughly 1 minute long. And for example, here someone is telling about how his dad grew up. And after the students have listened to the audio file, they will get several questions regarding what they just heard. for example, where did the speaker's father grow up? And then they have 3 different answering possibilities: on a farm, on a ranch, in a village. And one user has to give the answer, but since it's a chatbot, they of course have the possibility to ask each other, what do you think? What did you understand? Or if they didn't get something. So now my colleague Paulina will take over again and we'll go on with the learning experience.
So here we go. Thank you, Vera. So Vera presented to you the task flows, and now I will present to you how the feedback module, so the adaptive feedback, works in each of the obligatory 3 tasks. Since they're different, we have different kinds of feedback there. I'll try to keep it short because we started a little bit later, such that we have time for questions. So in the sentence correction task, we have different steps which are provided as needed by the users. So first of all, the user has to say if the sentence that they saw is correct or incorrect. And if they did not identify it correctly, then they get the first feedback. So they get sort of an informational, instructive feedback, what to look at in order to identify if the sentence is correct or not. And then they have the chance to improve themselves and to actually still select the mistake in the sentence given the feedback that they just got. Now, if they have not identified the erroneous word correctly, then they get another hint, another step of feedback, which is then the appropriate grammatical rule which underlies the mistake in the sentence. And then after that, they have to provide a correction for the sentence and the correction for the erroneous word. And if they do not do that correctly, they get yet another grammatical rule and have one more chance to correct the mistake. So they essentially have the possibility to learn from their own mistakes as the game goes on. Now, in the vocabulary guessing task, our adaptive module also has several steps of feedback. First of all, if the users are not able to guess the word one of the users explains for more than 60 seconds, they get a hint how many letters the target word has. Now, if they are close to guessing the right word, but they did not spell it correctly, they get the hint to check their spelling. This is done with a Levenstein distance, but I can talk about technical details in the Q&A if people are interested. And if they are still not able to guess the word for another 30 seconds, we start providing hints in a hangman style fashion. So they get letters of the target word one by one, essentially. And finally, the most complicated piece of implementation of the feedback is the discussion task. And what we decided to do is we decided to implement grammatical error correction. The scope of our GEC, grammatical error correction tool, is to both provide intermediate feedback between the single discussion questions and to provide final feedback, which also includes instructional feedback on the grammatical rules that the user violated when writing and discussing the questions. How do we actually do that? How do we evaluate the task and their performance and also provide the grammatical feedback? We use 2 tools. The one is language tool, which is an open source grammar tool, also used by OpenOffice. And the second one is Gector, which is an abbreviation of the model name, which is a fine-tuned transformer-based model developed by Grammarly. And we use them in order to compute correctness scores for the sentences that the users produce. And to do that, we essentially chain the 2 models and see if we identify grammatical errors in the user's productions. I will cut this a little bit short and only say that we have a list of common errors that we would expect from the users at the target proficiency level that we expect from the audience using this app. And but based on the common errors and other errors, we compute a correctness value, which is weighted with the sentence length and results in the sentence score. This sentence score is both used for the intermediate and the final feedback. In the intermediate feedback, we check if every user produced at least 15 words, so if they participated in the discussion, and we also check the quality of their writing, so if they reach a minimum ratio of the correctness, sentence score, and participation, so number of words. And based on that, we provide feedback telling the users to take care of their grammaticality or be more active. And we also have final feedback, which checks if the users actually pass the task and provides grammatical feedback on the most common mistakes. Here you can see little examples of how this feedback actually looks like in the app. So here you see the rule, the grammatical rule, which was violated most commonly by the users in the game. We also performed two kinds of evaluations in of our app during this last phase of development. First of all, we conducted a qualitative study with interviews with ESL, with students studying ESL at our university, and conducted interviews with open questions on these four topics with them. And essentially, all of our interviewees said that they would definitely use Escapeling as a supplementary tool, maybe with students from 10th grade on, and they said that this is great as a supplement to a classroom setting because this is so fun and entertaining due to the storyline and this social setting. They also all said that Escapeling is definitely an enjoyable game and pointed out that especially the visuals that we introduced are appealing to young learners and have a very strong motivational impact on the students. And they also said that the feedback provided by our adaptive module is really important from a didactic point of view, and the incremental presentation is exactly what they would do as teachers as well. So overall, we take this as highly positive feedback for what we have developed here. We also conducted a quantitative study more from a user perspective, again with students at our university, and the students tested the game and filled out questionnaires. And from this study, we find that more than 70% would definitely recommend the game to other English learners, and also more than 80% consider playing the game again. So we also have a replayability value here. Moreover, all of the students endorsed the app compared to other educational apps. So they definitely liked it. And they also said that the visuals, so the GIFs and the stickers, are really important for their enjoyment, so how much they enjoyed the game in total. We have an average score of 4.3 here. And they indicated that they could best improve their reading, listening, and general communication skills with Escapeling. So just to sum up real quick, we presented to you Escapeling, which is a gamified collaborative language learning chatbot, and we showed to you how UX can be improved by focusing on emotional and motivational engagement of the users here by, for instance, adding custom visualizations, which are embedded into the storyline in such a game. We have also shown that you can include adaptive personalized feedback, which really increases the pedagogical value of such an app. And this can be also employed for really complex tasks like free writing by using state-of-the-art AI-based tools like grammatical error correction. And with this, we would like to thank you for your attention. If you're curious, please get the bot here, visit our website for more information, or connect with other players of the game on the Slobby platform. And again, also thank you to our amazing collaborators. We can take questions now.
Thank you very much for your very interesting presentation. I don't see any question. Maybe people is thinking about some question to insert in the question and answer panel. Maybe something on the chat there is. There is a question from Santi Caballé. Do you plan to enlarge the experiments with more subjects? 14 participants look like very few.
Yes, great point. Thank you. Yes, we do. So we actually also had to find alternative evaluation strategies here. We originally planned to conduct classroom field studies, also with direct in-person interviews with teachers, but we had to resort to a different strategy due to COVID. So we hope to be able to actually conduct that and also collect more participants. Yes.
Okay, I have a question just to understand how do you generate the hints for the vocabulary task? Maybe I missed something. I did understand how you generate hints for the sentence task, but not very well how do you generate hints from for the vocabulary task.
Vera, you want to take it, or?
You can take it.
So if I understand the question correctly, you ask where the actual words that the users should explain come from, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they are shown as like a pop-up in their Telegram view. So they see that word and are supposed to explain it by typing in the chat without using the actual word, or they have also a button for requesting a different word if they do not know the one that they are shown. And we have a pool of task materials in the backend of the app, which is essentially used.
Okay. I don't see other questions, so I think thank you very much for your presentation.